Good morning, everyone. We are Team 1 and we're here to propose our solution named Pies in PAL for the ICT4 Social Impact India project. Our team is comprised of myself, Lachlan McCaskill, Mathew Jackson, Henry Kavadias-Barnes, James Campbell, Jaxon Franzi, and Bram Travis. The objective of this presentation is to first provide a brief overview of the project, including a short history of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and provide an overview of the India project. We also want to give a brief description of the area we are implementing the solution in. Finally, we also want to explain our solution to the fourth UN SDG, quality education.
The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals were formed in 2012 and commenced in 2015 with the intent on actioning environmental, political, and economic challenges in the world. The Sustainable Development Goals replaced the Millennium Development Goals, which began in 2000. Over 15 years, the Millennium Development Goals managed to reduce extreme poverty, child mortality, children out of school, and HIV and AIDS infections by almost half or more. The Sustainable Development Goals are the continuation. Regarding the India project, Swinburne's goal inside ICT is to work with partners to create and implement ICT solutions for development challenges that Indian communities face. From late 2013 onwards, there have been many projects for rural Indian communities that Swinburne has implemented. One of the Sustainable Development Goals that Swinburne addresses inside the India project is quality education, particularly regarding schools with limited ICT infrastructure.
When planning our solution, we needed to determine what limitations we'd face at each of the schools in terms of internet, power, and technology. Internet within the 4 schools is very limited, with PAL being the only school of the 4 that has internet for a few hours within the day. The school's access to power is patchy. PAL and Mohammed Ali has access to power. Jamnia has an intermittent 12-hour on-off power setup, which is not consistent from day to day, and Mangrul has inconsistent power which we cannot rely on when visiting. Technology within each school is limited and some devices go missing from visit to visit. In PAL there is a computer lab with 10 laptops. At Jamnia there is 5 CRT monitors, each with a mouse and keyboard. Mohammed Ali had a projector and had a mobile in a box introduced in 2019. There weren't reports on the number of mobile devices that were left. Mangrul was reported to have 4 computers. The infrastructure is limited in the area, and we have designed our project to suit the area's demands.
So our approach is to teach the fundamentals of computer use. So the basic different parts of a computer, basic operation, turning the system off and on, word processing, emails, all with the Raspberry Pi operating system Raspberry, which is free and simple to teach. Beyond this, we would be keen to establish a Coder Dojo club that could be run by the community after we've left, that allows students of a variety of ages to come and attempt simple and fun projects that teach the IT fundamentals. The range of projects by Coder Dojo are already localized into many different languages, including Hindi, and scale in difficulty from simple projects that don't even require full literacy or technology to more complex ones that teach the basics of coding. Running a Coder Dojo does not require instructors to have any technical knowledge, only the ability to help students read through the project's guides, which can be provided to them on a USB or printed off into a handbook that we can bring with us.
To support this solution, we needed to find a device that met all of our requirements. The perfect device would need to be cheap enough to supply a whole classroom with them, capable enough to perform the required tasks without requiring too much power due to the limitations of the area, as well as small and light enough to enable cost-effective shipping and transportation. We identified Raspberry Pis as the ideal choice for this project, as they are relatively cheap, with the specific model we're proposing, the Model 4B, costing around 75 Australian dollars per device when sourced from within India. They are also more than powerful enough to enable all the required activities. Despite their small 8x5cm form factor, the Raspberry Pi 4B can come with up to 8GB of RAM, although we suggest 4GB for this project. With a 1.5 GHz quad-core CPU, they have more than enough processing power to support all the various activities and projects students might undertake using Coder Dojo. They are extremely feature-rich, as the operating system Raspbian is free to use and comes with everything required to teach students basic computer literacy, such as how to navigate a desktop, using file structures, and how to operate browsers and word processors. They are small and light enough to be shipped and transported to wherever needed, with each pie weighing close to 50 grams. Their tiny volume allows dozens of pies to be packed and shipped in a relatively small container, much more efficiently and for a far lower cost than any alternative devices such as laptops. They also consume very little power, as each pie requires only a 15-watt sustained power supply. With the right setup, you could potentially run a Raspberry Pi with solar power. One of the main reasons we decided on Raspberry Pis was their versatility. The Raspberry Pi offers so much more potential educational value than a laptop or tablet due to things like the accessible GPIO pins, which can be used in addition with basic accessories such as simple breadboards, lead wires and LEDs, or small devices like motors to teach students about basic programming and electronics.
At the end of our stay, we would love to reward 5 boys and 5 girls that have shown particular aptitude and curiosity for the projects by giving them a self-contained Raspberry Pi system which they could use to continue more advanced projects and fuel their learning.
Other devices such as laptops or tablets could potentially be more appropriate due to the Raspberry Pi's reliance on peripheral devices, namely monitors, keyboards, and mice, as well as the requirement of a sustained supply of power. However, the Raspberry Pi offers very substantial educational value in many areas and applications beyond simply using them to enable students to perform Coder Dojo projects. The Raspberry Pis can be used for various applications, and we believe their value outweighs the potential constraints they introduce. The Raspberry Pis can be sourced from within India or transported in the luggage of the next Swinburne group that travels to PAL due to the extremely low weight. Peripherals such as monitors will likely need to be sourced from within India.
In summary, Pis in PAL is a relatively cheap, small, and versatile solution. The individual devices don't cost very much to purchase or ship. They can be used for a variety of purposes, including teaching simple and advanced ICT skills. The solution is also extendable because it can work in tandem with solutions already in place, such as Classroom in a Box. Finally, because of the programs being used, the skills can be taught by someone with very little experience in programming. In the end, the project may not change the entire landscape of ICT skills in PAL, but it will provide many more students with an early exposure to ICT, which they can remember for the rest of their lives.